The bloodshed and war in Ukraine is mainly over, but the tensions between the United States and Russia are at an all-time high. Now, in this video, I'm going to break down a lot of breaking news coming from the U.S., coming from Russia, the geopolitical kind of news that's really important to understand to get a grander understanding of what happened and what's currently happening right now and how we face another Cold War between these two emerging superpowers. Now, when it comes to Ukraine, it looks like Russia has been successfully, with the long-term scheme of things, they were able to not only get Crimea, but now with supporting the separatists here, the rebels here in eastern Ukraine, they now have a very strong aligned territory that will be redrawn by Germany later this year of eastern Ukraine, which is the main kind of energy source, the main kind of energy producer in the region. Now, Donetsk and the eastern Ukrainian part of the country has a lot of natural resources, has a lot of coal. U.S. interest and people very strongly connected to U.S. politicians have contracts to actually drill here. But with the Minsk II agreements, geopolitically, it looks like Russia has won the conflict over Ukraine. Now, of course, the U.S. And NATO and European, with their newly established government in Kiev, have this kind of territory. Monsanto's coming in. The IMF is going to be owning all of this side of Ukraine. But this part of Ukraine, the eastern part of Ukraine, is extremely important to the energy resources. And it looks like Russia is going to have another key ally when the new borders are kind of redrawn. And Ukraine will be screwed by both of these kind of emerging superpowers. And that's why we see, Fox News is reporting that the Ukrainian rebels make a threat to abandon the ceasefire, but what they're not talking about is how the Ukrainian government is putting in new laws that limit self-rule. They don't want to give up this very key, important geopolitical landscape because they're fully dependent on energy, and that's why they're changing the laws. And then the pro-Russian separatists, the rebels, are like, no. We want self-rule. And that's why it looks like, with the help of China intervening, that Russia has been successful in the kind of pull, in this kind of tug of war when it comes to Ukraine, because they got very important geopolitical energy allies in the region of the Donetsk, and also have a very key military geopolitical location with the peninsula of Crimea. Now, many people speculate that this kind of conflict between Russia and the U.S. could escalate between Ukraine, and it is escalating. That's why we're seeing a lot more military exercises and rattling of the saber by Russia. Russia is conducting a large number of military drills all throughout Eastern Europe, showing their military might. Now, of course, the U.S. and NATO are doing that too. We have congressmen in the U.S. who are calling for more nukes to be deployed in Eastern Europe with the allies that are close to NATO, that are part of the European Union. So you see this kind of rattling of the saber by both sides recently, and they're all showing their military might, showing that they're not afraid of each other, like two dogs kind of growling and barking at each other. They're also, in the region, Russia is also sending new missiles to the Baltics, all along the eastern kind of European front. So we see these kind of maneuvering. What else is really interesting to see Russia to do anything they can geopolitically to expand their kind of influence, expand their control, and expand their kind of military strategic locations. That's why they just signed a treaty with the rebel Georgian regime in the West. So now you have Russia, strong allies with the Donetsk new People's Republic, the new kind of territory. They just got Crimea. They're making inroads in Georgia, but not only in Georgia, they're also teaming up with North Korea. If you don't know, Russia has actually forgotten North Korea's $10 billion debt to Russia, and they're marking 2015 as a new year of friendship. And of course, as we know, the United States and North Korea really do not like each other, and Putin is doing everything geopolitically to kind of expand his influence and to work out with allies to build this kind of emerging influence to show that he won't be bullied by the United States. Now, of course, Russia is being hit economically by Western powers, by the IMF, by U.S. sanctions, by Saudi Arabia, which the U.S. cut a deal with in September of last year to lower the gas prices. Right now, gas is at $51 a barrel. To survive, Russia needs economically a barrel of oil to sell for $102. Now, we know Saudi Arabia is overproducing oil. That's why the price has been going down. The U.S. and Saudi Arabia cut the deal to hurt countries like Venezuela, Iran, and Russia. And they're hurting Russia a lot because 50% of the Russian economy is based on oil. And with the price of oil going down, Russia cannot sell it for profit. They need to sell it. They need oil to hit $102 per barrel to be able to survive economically. Right now, it's $51 a barrel. Russia, with the sanctions, Russia with the lowering oil prices, is being hit economically. That's why they're reaching out to North Korea. That's why they're making deals with the Georgians. That's why they're flexing the military might, because they're feeling Western kind of economic attacks on its government. And as we know, the British and the U.S. are still not doing their best not to give up this very important key territory in Ukraine, and that's why British forces and American forces are still training the Ukrainian military for another possible escalation. And this is just recent. This news just broke today. More military training, more help by the Western powers to help the Ukrainian government build up. The Ukrainian government is trying to pass new laws to make sure that they don't lose this territory. But again, they had to back off because China, again, backed Russia when it comes to this deal. So it looks like the ceasefire will hold. It looks like Russia is the big winner when it comes to Ukraine, even though they're being screwed economically. And that's why Russia and China are even joining up more in platforms to help each other economically in this region. So with this unfolding, you see all these forces going up against each other. China playing favorites with Russia, North Korea joining Russia, the Georgian rebels joining Russia. Most likely, when the new lines are drawn and the eastern part of Ukraine has self-rule, they will be aligned with Russia. You see the military drills and exercises all throughout Eastern Europe by Russia, and then you're seeing the same thing by the West, and more economic sanctions and more lowering of the gas price with Saudi Arabia to hurt them economically. Where this conflict will come to a head, no one knows, but it is a very key, interesting aspect to see the Cold War unfolding once again in these very key, important foreign policy decisions and economic decisions that are playing out throughout the world, putting these two superpowers against each other. Very interesting news breaking. We will see what will happen between these two major superpowers, but it looks right now that they're just butting heads as much as they can. That's the news for you. Thank you again so much for watching. If you found this video helpful and insightful to understand the new Cold War that we are in, click the like button. Don't forget to subscribe. We're going to have a lot more videos coming your way on youtube.com/WeAreChange.